Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I thought I would take a look at a classic Marvel event series. This is Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars. It's the Marvel Omnibus, it's the original edition. This was out of print, but the good news for everybody who missed out and wanted a copy of it, it is being reprinted on November 22nd. It'll be available for purchase November 22nd, 2022. So don't go paying silly prices for this on the collector's market, assuming that you can wait till November, but I wouldn't. I would wait. So that's the good news of this. It's going to be available in the near future. So how is it? Well, this is the original version, so it's pretty basic. There's the spine. Here's the back, shows you all the issues that are in there. It contains Secret Wars 1 through 12, Thor 383, She-Hulk number 10, What If number 4, and 114. I know they say it's an omnibus on here, but boy, if you look how thin it is, this is to me more of a basic hardcover. That's a stretch to call this an omnibus. But whatever, Marvel, whatever. Pretty basic older omnibus, nothing special on there. No art on the inside cover or anything. I like this splash page here. The art and the writing were done by a lot of different people, but mostly by Jim Shooter and Mike Zeck, as we can see here. Yeah, for the main series itself, Jim Shooter wrote issues 1 through 12, and Mike Zeck drew issues 1 through 3 and 6 through 12, but Bob Layton filled in for issues 4 and 5. There was a reason for it, and I don't remember what it was. Does anyone remember? Does anyone know why Mike had to bow out for 2 issues? Maybe he had some other commitments that he had to do. I don't know. It'd be interesting to know if anybody has that information. Anyway, here we have Spidey in his glorious black costume. This starts with issue number 1 in May of 1984, and number 12 ends in April of 1985. And of course, you've got these extra issues here that were not part of the original run of the Marvel Secret Wars. We got a very interesting introduction by Tom DeFalco. He talks about that DC Comics had a toy company come to them and want to have him put together a license action figure toy line for kids. And they did, and it turned out really popular. So some other toy company saw that success and went to Marvel and was like, hey, we want to do the same thing with you guys. So they did, and it was also successful. I do remember the action figures for Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars. I was a teenager at the time, so I wasn't about to buy them, but I did think they were cool. I had to admit, if I was a younger kid, I would have bought them, or at least bugged my parents to buy them. We also learn here, and I do remember this, that this was the first company-wide crossover in the history of comics. So this is the first event series, and I remember that. I was all over this. I thought this was awesome. Here we have a prologue, kind of gives you a little bit of backstory about how everybody gets together for the Secret Wars. This one's kind of concentrating on how Spider-Man got there. X-Men, Thor and the Avengers, Iron Man, the Hulk, Fantastic Four. And here we go. Here we go into the main storyline. To this day, I love this cover. I remember picking it up at my local comics shop, local comic store, and I just thought this was awesome. I mean, seeing all the different heroes together on one page, I had never seen that before. You gotta remember, this is the first company crossover. No one had ever done this before. So I was excited from the minute that I opened it up and started reading. I really like Mike Zeck's artwork. I don't know, something about his pencil lines. It's very well done, detailed. I enjoyed it. For those that maybe not know, if you watch my video about the Punisher Circle of Blood series, he did that Punisher miniseries too. So Mike Zeck is awesome. And you've got corresponding supervillains in here, and they're all put together on this battle world by a being called the Beyonder. I mean, that Beyonder even got Galactus in there. And he wanted them basically to battle. He did not understand the difference between, I guess, good and evil, if I remember correctly. And he wanted to see what they would all do. And of course, there's a lot of conflict, because even the superheroes have difficulty trying to figure out what to do to work together when they're not all used to working together. The supervillains have even a more difficult time, because, you know, you've got egomaniac Doctor Doom here, Dr. Octopus, and various other criminal types who are not used to working together at all. They have their own agendas. I thought this was amazing that the Beyonder just completely defeated Galactus with like nothing. I mean, it was amazing to me. Here's Kang the Conqueror. For those of you watching the Marvel comic series on Disney Plus, Kang does make an appearance in here. There he is. Got Molecule Man. Got the Enchantress, Zorby Man. We got the Wrecking Crew, Doc Ock, Lizard. I said Molecule Man. Another great cover. Magneto front and center. Honestly, for a series that was really, it was supposed to sell toys, comic action figures for Marvel. This was actually a good story. It didn't come across as kiddified. It was as grown up as the regular Marvel titles of that era. A lot of action. And I love the scope that Mike Zeck has of these buildings, these alien landscapes. Boy, he did a good job. I didn't like the Wasp's hairdo back then, but I guess that was an 80s power haircut, I guess. I don't know. Here's a She-Hulk. Of course, we know that she's going to have her own series on Disney Plus. See, here's what I was saying. The Crisis Within. There's conflict between the superheroes as well. Magneto. And then then Spider-Man starts getting into it with the X-Men. Doctor Doom is trying to form an alliance with Magneto, but of course Magneto's very strong and very powerful villain himself, and he chooses to make his own way. He says, "I choose to make my own way, Doom." And Dr. Doom's like, "Very well. If you do not serve me, I must consider you an enemy, and you will live to regret it." But Magneto couldn't care less. And this is, Titania, if I remember correctly? Yes, Titania. I think they were building her up to be a big super villain at the time, but it didn't really work. I just love the action of the show. I mean the show, not the show, the comic. I mean, boy, it just didn't let up. Okay, I love this. I remember when this came out, and boy, this is one of my favorite covers. I wanted to dig into this book so bad, because here we have the Hulk holding an entire mountain range on his shoulders to save our heroes from being crushed. And if that does not show the power of the Incredible Hulk, I don't know what does. I couldn't wait to read this. So yeah, here's the mountain range. The Molecule Man, who always seemed to me to be just a little dweeby guy, which he is, but in this series he shows actually how powerful he is. He's incredibly powerful. I mean, look at this. He's moving an entire mountain range, and then he drops it on our heroes. And of course, all the villains are like, well, that's it. They're all dead. And I like that, as well as the action, there is a lot of dialogue to this. The characters are well, what's the word? Defined. They're very well defined, and there's growth, and it does explain very well what's going on. Here's the Hulk. He managed to hold up the mountain range. This little cavity here saves the heroes, and Iron Man's able to get him out. But yeah, don't be afraid of the dialogue either. This is such a good story. And here, this one kind of focuses on the X-Men a bit. I hope you don't mind me kind of going through the art here. I just love this series. I'm so excited that they're reprinting it. It was due for a reprint. And how's the paper? The paper is really nice. It's very smooth. It's not coarse at all. Honestly, I think this paper is the same paper that they use for the Marvel Masterworks series. Oh, yeah. Here we have the Enchantress trying to manipulate Doom by kind of seducing him, but he doesn't fall for it. I can't tell you how much I love the show. Me and my best friend would just pore over every panel. It was a good time to be alive back then for a comic fan. There was a lot of classics that came out back then that we had no idea would be classics. And this cover kind of was like, yeah. There's Claw, Master of Sound. I love all these buildings and stuff that they're that they're using and have built for them by the Beyonder. Now, I know that in more modern times they have had a Secret Wars series, but I do not know what happened in that one. I don't know anything about it. Uh, I don't. I don't know. Oh, here's Spider Woman. I think this is the first introduction of Spider Woman. Can anybody tell me what the more modern Secret Wars was about? Was the Beyonder in there again? Was it the same kind of thing? Who was involved in that? Oh, yeah, this was interesting. Uh, Absorbing Man lost his arm. I can't remember what happened to him, uh, but I remember he was trying to figure out what's he gonna do. He doesn't want to have one arm, and when he goes back to being human, he's like, if I'm gonna lose it, so he just put it against his stump, and hopefully that it worked, and it did, and he was so happy. I thought that was funny. Boy, there's so much action. Everybody gets into it. There's damage taken. Here we go. Here we go. Marvel Secret Wars, issue number 8. This is a key issue. This has become a key issue. This is the very first appearance of Spider-Man in his black costume. And as we know, the black costume is a symbiote and becomes Venom. Now, here's the interesting question. Do you think that Venom was intended all along, or was it not? Or I don't think that the original intent was Venom. I thought Todd McFarlane came up with Venom. Can somebody out there correct me if I'm wrong? I'm honestly not sure. I'm not sure what they were going to do with the black costume. I'm really not. But here it is. See, they all got their costumes back because they found this machine. And Spider-Man gets this little ball and it just comes up his arm and he's got this new costume. If I remember at the time, that was done because they wanted to do a different costume for Spider-Man because he had the classic Spidey costume for so long. They wanted to try something different. That, I think, was the original intent. I also remember at the time, I don't think it went over that well. People wanted the original classic Spidey costume back, but they went with it. And who knew about Venom? Who knew that that would be a key issue? And who knew that not only would we see Venom, but he'd become a major character in the Marvel Universe in and of himself. Ah, look at that. That's so cool. I thought this panel was awesome. Not this panel, this cover. Doctor Doom taking on the Beyonder. I'm like, wow. Doctor Doom just got shredded. Look at that. These were so much fun. Yeah, look at Doctor Doom. Now, interesting thing. Here he is right here, transformed. I won't go into the storyline, but he gets this new armor. There he is, right there. Now, back then, if you were to buy the Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars action figures, this was Doctor Doom's action figure. So basically, they're advertising their own action figure. But it was still cool. We had Doctor Doom take his mask off and hadn't had his scarred face anymore. And now he's going to deal with everybody. Because as we know, Doctor Doom is only in it for himself and his own self-interest and powers. He's not interested in anybody else. Now, I will be honest. I do not like the Doctor Doom's toy outfit costume. I just don't. This one was, if I remember, a double issue. This is the last one. He basically blasted the superheroes out of existence. And it was just the supervillains left and how they dealt with that. But problem is, Doom has difficulty kind of controlling his powers. And then it's just becoming difficult for him. And there they appear. And again, I'm not going into the storyline. You can read it yourself. This was cool too. I was just shocked that Doctor Doom just incinerates Captain America. But then he comes back, and he does it again, and he comes back. It's really, it's like, whoa. I was shocked at that as a teenage reader. Cap gets his shield back because it was broken. The Thing decides that he's going to leave, and then She-Hulk joins the Fantastic Four. And then we have an epilogue. Now, as he says here, this wasn't the end of the Beyonder. There was a second limited series, Secret Wars 2, published the following year. Now, I can do a review on that one. It's a lot bigger. There's a lot more to it. And I'll just go over that when I get to that video. But this one was so successful that it started it. Here we have Thor number 383, and this was part of the Secret Wars. It was a Secret Wars tie-in, and I'm not going to go into that, but it did tie into it, but it's not part of it. It's a good issue, though. I liked it. Now, here we have a more modern issue, the She-Hulk. More about Titania. And of course, by this time, I had gotten out of comics, so I didn't catch this one. Let's see, what is this? Oh, this is what if the alien costume had possessed Spider-Man. I think at that point I had... Well, no, this would have been done not too much longer afterwards. But for some reason I didn't... Wait a minute. There's Venom. No, I think this was after when I got out of comics. And then there's another What If, Secret Wars 25 years later. I absolutely did not catch this one. Maybe some of you did. Honestly, I don't like the cartoony art. Don't like it. And here we have the extras. Mattel it's a house ad for Secret Wars toys from December 1984. And then we have a whole look at the toys themselves. Here's a line of toys right here, and they had a ton of them. I mean, look at that. Captain America, Spidey, Iron Man, Wolverine, Doc Doom, Octopus, Kang, Magneto, Black Costume Spidey, Daredevil, Falcon, Baron Zemo, Hobgoblin. These were great. And look at all these toys. And it was very successful. Here we have some cover pencils by Mike Zeck, cover inks, cover look of Marvel Age Magazine number 12, and an article about the series. Here was an interesting, different concept, the black costume. Here's also some more pencils by Mike Zeck. So it's interesting to see that, especially if you're into art. So we get a lot of the pencils. Then we have an alternate cover art for the Hulk holding up the mountain and saving the heroes. Personally, I don't think this is good, and I like what they did for the actual issue much better. Here's some unused cover art that they did not, well, it's unused, they didn't use it. Here's the original cover art. They say that there was additional line work in Doctor Doom that was removed in the coloring, so this was actually much more detailed. Here we have the trade paperback cover. More trade paperback covers. This is the third printing, second edition. And then here's the variant cover for this very same omnibus. And obviously I don't have that. So there you go. A very, if you'll pardon me, a much longer look at the Marvel Secret Wars. But boy, I enjoyed this. This was so much fun when I was a teenager. I highly recommend it. Whatever superhero you're a fan of, they're probably in here. This is a classic from the 80s. If you have not read it, I highly recommend it. If you have read it and you enjoyed it, pick up a copy. Like I said, don't pay silly prices for it in the collector's market. Reprint's coming November 22nd. So just hold on, be patient. You'll be able to get a copy of it. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye.